As is the case now for Leo, wedding bells back then weren't a big must.
For me to get married now would take a lot. Marriage wouldn't be in even my realm.
Hi.
Most of you probably know me from making K-pop videos, but I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to talk about something I've become very interested in as of late. And yes, it does concern this man. But before we start, a little disclaimer. This is going to be a video essay of sorts, but this is my first time, so it probably won't be that great. Also, I'm not comfortable with my own voice, so this AI-generated voice will just have to do. This is Leonardo DiCaprio, and since earlier this year this man has haunted me. Well, not in the traditional sense, but since I've become aware of his dating situation. And the fact that so many men and women idolize his dating life and will defend it to the death. I just couldn't understand it, so without actually realizing it, I went into a deep dive on him just to understand the situation better. The thing I wanted to know more than anything is why no one was properly addressing it. Why it was being treated as more of a joke. Because I honestly believe that it's one of the most serious and interesting topics in Hollywood. Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio was born in California in November of 1974 to parents that would eventually divorce. Just 1 year after his birth, his father would fall in love with another woman, moving in with her and her son, prompting the divorce. Leo and his mother would move all around LA, living in impoverished areas that were often subjected to heavy crime. Leo would express to his mother his interest in acting very young, and his mother would bring him to many auditions, and he would get his start mostly doing commercials.
Hey, hands off. The free singles are for Daddy. Oh, but Mom. Don't you know he is watching his fat and cholesterol? But Mom, they make a good...
During this time, Leo would meet and become close to some other young talent like Sarah Gilbert, who's most known for playing Darlene Connor on the popular 90s sitcom Roseanne, and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. The boys seemed to bond over growing up in rough neighborhoods with single moms and also sharing an agent who would eventually go to jail for pedophilia. Unfortunately, this wasn't the only time young Leo would work with a convicted pedophile. Leo got his start with commercials, but he got his break on the 1985 TV series Growing Pains, where he unfortunately worked with soon-to-be convicted pedophile Brian Peck. I don't wish to speak about Brian Peck's situation here, but you can search up his time on Growing Pains with Leo. I just hope all those kids were safe. In 1993, Leo lands a role in the movie This Boy's Life opposite Robert De Niro. The movie dealt with the heavy topic of domestic abuse and really put young Leo on the map. Something I found cute was that Leo would help Toby gain a supporting role in the movie. But since Toby wasn't in any scenes with De Niro, Leo would get Robert to call and sign autographs for Toby when he could. From here, Leo started to gain more of a social presence around Hollywood, becoming a regular at popular clubs like the Viper Room. And this is when the infamous Pussy Posse, now Wolfpack, was born. Kevin Connolly, David Blaine, Lucas Haas, Ethan Suplee, J.R. Ferguson, Scott Bloom, and of course Tobey Maguire were all a part of the mid-90s group the Pussy Posse. It was made mostly of young actors, all in their 20s, who spent their days going to auditions and their nights terrorizing nightclubs. According to multiple sources, they were just a group of immature, misogynistic assholes. And according to sources today, at least Leo, out of everyone else, still is like that. These boys would allegedly make competitions out of how many girls they could pick up, and Leo would always beat them. The most off-putting thing I saw from this time was allegedly a female reporter was asking around in order to do an interview with Leo. And when she got home one night, there was a message on her answering machine that said the only way she was getting an interview is if she did something along the lines of what Monica did for Bill. Aside from that, the most famous thing the Pussy Posse has ever done is the 2001 film Don's Plum. As previously stated, the Pussy Posse was made mostly of actors, but it was also made of people trying to pursue other careers in film. So some of them got together, came up with the idea of the film, and asked the actors of the group like Toby and Leo to be a part of it. They agreed and they filmed the movie with a completely improvised script. The filming wasn't so smooth though. One of the actresses of the movie would leave halfway through because she was being targeted by Leo. His harsh words towards her made her quit the movie prematurely, and it was all kept in the movie. After the movie wrapped, it was being shopped around, and it seemed like it would be bought and placed in theaters. But apparently Bully Maguire would not have that. The movie was entirely improvised, and some actors did and said things they were not proud of. Like Maguire saying that when he pleasured himself, he liked to place a finger up his rear. So apparently, when he heard that the movie was going to be released on a bigger scale, he tried to get it thrown out, which culminated in a huge argument between him and the creators of the movie. In the end, allegedly he went to Leo crying in a fit of anger, claiming that the creators of the movie were trying to make them look bad. Leo and Toby sued the creators and got the movie banned in the US and Canada. But you can find the entire movie and clips of the trial on YouTube. So how is any of that relevant to his situation now? Well, if you ask most people who follow him now, Leo hasn't really changed since the 90s and early 2000s. If anything has changed, it's the media coverage on him. They have really been trying to clean him up on the internet for the past 10 years now. All the theories on his dating history and him as a person really stem from here. But what are those theories? 1. He's stuck in his 20s. By far the most popular theory. And it's not too hard to understand why. Aside from his dating patterns, the way that he treats his friend group feels so middle schoolish. Yes, this is him and Toby Maguire wearing matching wolf pack necklaces very recently. Also, his free time is spent in nightclubs surrounded by 20-year-olds or chasing any celebrity party. You won't see him at the award shows, but you will damn well see him at those after parties. I'm not saying that he can't do these things, but the fact this is his life year-round is a bit sad and concerning. Personally, I'm halfway with this theory because looking at him now, I believe he's running from his 20-year-old self at least a little. It feels like he's trying to put some of that stuff behind him desperately, whether that be for professional gain or otherwise. 2. He was groomed by older people in the industry. As you can imagine, this theory isn't as popular. When young men in Hollywood are groomed, it isn't really acknowledged, and when it is acknowledged, it's usually done by homophobes, and there's no real nuanced conversation about it, when it might be the reality for most Hollywood boys. When I first saw this theory, I was speaking to someone from Instagram who was talking about Steven Strait, an actor who was in a very public relationship with a 25-year-old woman at the age of 16. The person that I spoke to alleges that a lot of older women and men would initiate in very inappropriate behavior regarding Leo, from the way that they spoke about him to allegedly parading him around in nightclubs. I spoke to someone else who pointed me in the direction of Dana Giacoto, an American stockbroker and celebrity money manager who handled Toby's and Leo's finances in the 90s. He's 12 years Leo's senior, and he started working with Leo when Leo was in his early 20s. They would eventually start living together from 1998 to 1999 and bought matching cockatoos named Angel and Caesar. Him and Leo would frequent parties and were attached at the hip, but they seemed to break off contact in 1999 when Dana was 37 and Leo was 25. Dana would allegedly parade Leo around for his many celebrity clients, at parties and etc., but that's all according to the people I spoke to on Instagram. I really don't know if that's true, so don't hold me to it. In 2000, Dana was arrested for fraud, and in 2016, his roommate found him dead in his New York apartment. The people I spoke to on Instagram believe that Leo is mimicking what he witnessed, being around these older men and women in Hollywood, which really doesn't make it okay if it's true. But they also believe that his time with Dana has stuck with him. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. 3. He's bisexual. On the internet, every celebrity is suspected to be gay or lesbian, like all of them. The only person I haven't seen gay rumors about is Charlie Sheen. I have to say I was surprised that so many people believe that he's bisexual and not gay, because when people discuss celebrity sexuality on the internet, it's always gay or lesbian. There's a lot going into this theory, so buckle up. The rumors started when Leo was quite young, and way before Titanic. As soon as he was around 18, people started to talk about him allegedly frequenting LGBTQ nightclubs. But the rumors became more prevalent around 1994, when he stated in his interview magazine piece that he was unsure about his own sexuality. I'm surprised that this isn't talked about more, since it seemed to spark a few think pieces that year. In 1995, in a Dallas Observer piece, they discussed the discourse coming from the Interview magazine issue, and they asked the question of if an actor's sexuality should determine the roles they receive and how successful they become. The author also discusses a profile from the gay lifestyle magazine called Genre, in which an openly gay actor, Craig Chester, declared that Leo was ready to come out. He also stated that Leo being signed to creative art agencies, who are allegedly known for their old Hollywood way of handling things and forcing actors into straight relationships for publicity purposes, meant that making any attempt to come out would be blocked. The article also mentions how after the Genre piece came out, CAA pulled Leo's press appearances for the 2 movies he was promoting. In 1994, after the initial Interview magazine piece, Leo was in his first rumored relationship with the young and beautiful Bridget Hall, a model. In 1996, after allegedly resurfacing from CAA's dungeon, he made his first red carpet debut with a girlfriend, model Kristen Zhang. Even though the tabloids were filled with his dating exploits with models and his never-ending partying, he still couldn't escape the rumors. The rumors would evolve into including one, Mr. Tobey Maguire. I personally couldn't find much of these rumors from the mid to late 90s, but I've been told that the rumors allegedly varied from stealing kisses in the dark corners of nightclubs to insisting that Tobey stayed with him on various sets. Once again, this is all from people who claim to remember reading these things in the past. We don't know if they were actually written down. It's also insinuated that Tobey has some kind of strong hold over Leo, which some might argue is demonstrated in the Don's Plum incident. Once again, this is hearsay. Sometime from around 1998 to early 2000s, a tabloid magazine gets a hold of a picture of Leo in a pool with another man, and allegedly they look suspicious. So they send a journalist to New York to stalk and write an 8-page article that she alleges was practically outing the young star. The journalist gets a hold of Tobey Maguire's mother's number, and she tells the journalist that the boys are close and comfortable with their sexuality. And every time they visit her, they insist on sharing a bed. Then she goes on to joke about them putting ribbons in each other's hair. Now I can't find anything about that piece other than a snippet of Tobey's mother's statement and a video of the author speaking about it, where she states that she believes Tobey and Leo might have experimented. I can't find the photo either, but people who said they saw it claim they see David Blaine. Then sometime in the 2000s, there was allegedly a report from another country that when Leo stayed there, he brought Tobey and they shared a bed, and hotel staff thought it was weird. And a whole lot more was in the article. Allegedly, since the early 2010s, people talk about Leo and Lucas Haas. Apparently Lucas lives with Leo, goes everywhere with him, including film sets, and relies on Leo financially. I couldn't find much more about them, except this headline about a blind gossip item. Also, him and Lucas go everywhere together. But I heard someone say, they're practically stepbrothers, so I'm treading lightly with that one. I'm gonna leave it here, but there's a lot more to this theory, and overall this theory can be problematic, and I'll explain why in the next point. 4. Most of his public relationships are PR. So this ties into the third theory. People believe that CA has set up these PR relationships with young, relatively unknown models who are really looking to carve out their own image in the pop culture space. They don't believe that this is the case for all the women he dates, because they do believe he's bisexual. But when he has a partner he might not be able to go public with, or he has to promote himself for a job or otherwise, they believe that's when these models come in. And after their time with him, they allegedly always thrive, whether it's career-wise or in their personal life. I do have to say that people pushing the third and fourth theory can be problematic for a number of reasons. But the one I think people are most concerned about is people trying to absolve him of his reputation, when we have no real indication that these theories are true. There's just so much mystery that surrounds this man and his situation, and I don't think it's a good kind of mystery, especially when you take things like this into account. There's so much I have to say, but I gotta stop here before I get carried away. I'm too scared of my message getting too convoluted. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if anyone wants a part 2, I'll gladly do it.